Alright guys, welcome to the show. My name is Josh, and if you have been a long-time watcher of this show, you'll notice something different behind me. I'm sitting right in front of a white wall, and before you go raging in the comments section down below, I am permanently relocated to Boston, Massachusetts, and I am in a very, very small space. So I need to do a few things before the studio, which is behind me, looks really good. So what I want from you guys is actually suggestions of what to put behind me for these talks, and also for our more generalized watch discussions. And then I also am going to be needing a wider angle lens so you can see more of the wall and you're not so close right up in my face. I do like you guys, but I don't like you that much. So that's kind of it for the channel updates. I do want to jump into the news because we do have quite a few things that I would like to cover today. So Christopher Ward just released a brand spanking new watch, and it is a frickin' beauty. One thing you'll also notice about this video, I don't have the table with my laptop in front of me, so I'm going to be probably a little frantic trying to remember all of the details. I do not have all of them in front of me, so please bear with me. So this is a pilot's watch, and it actually has a 5-day power reserve. I believe the movement is based on the SH51. And I'm covering this watch because of what it offers you in terms of price. If you look at the dial of the Christopher Ward, you can see that there's a whole bunch of different layers. There's actually one layer right on top that has the indices cut out, and then also the dates cut out, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. And at the bottom layer we have a super luminova coated kind of tan-ish color to it. And what that does is it creates a very dimensional feeling dial because you have the different layers inside the actual watch. So great lume, as you would expect with a Christopher Ward. And then it also has a really, really nifty feature. So you can see on the dial, we have the seconds subdial at the 6 o'clock position. We have the power reserve at the 9 o'clock position. And at the 3 o'clock position, we find something a little different. And it's something that I really, really like. Traditionally, with date style windows on aviation pieces, if you have the altitude mimicking date window, and what I mean by that is you can see 3 dates instead of just one, so as the days go by it's kind of like ticking up and then it resets, you know, just like an altimeter or an altimeter, whatever you want to pronounce it. Anyway, on this watch, the really cool feature is that both the dates that are not the current day are actually blacked out. So you can kind of see a little bit how they're cut into the dial, but the one that is the current day actually is cut all the way through to that super luminova backplate, and then the date has lume, and it also really stands out with that tan color against the black dial. Now, this watch is 44 millimeters. Unfortunately, it has a pretty big crown. It's a very nicely decorated crown, but it's a little bit too big for my wrists. But the back of the case is actually really astonishing. This is a manually wound watch, which means you have to wind it every 5 days because this has a 5-day power reserve. And something cool that Christopher Ward did with this watch is they actually decorated and engraved the barrels on this watch. It has 2 barrels so that it has the 5-day power reserve, and they engraved them to look like turbines to fit the watch's aviation theme. I think this is an amazing touch, and personally I would love to pick one of these up. Here is the catch. They are only $2,065. What? I know that that sounds like a lot of money, but considering you're getting a 5-day power reserve watch with a PVD coated case, I believe, and a 5-day power reserve, as I said, the cool dimensionality of the dial is really amazing, and I just personally really love the design. The Christopher Ward logo is, you know, a little bit could be said there. I might make a separate video on that. You guys will have to let me know. But that pretty much wraps it up for the first piece of news for the day. All right, guys, so for the second story of the day, I'm actually going to have to read off the name of this watch because it is so long, and if you hate me looking off to the slide like this, you can leave a dislike on this video. I'll really appreciate it. Anyway, we're talking today about the Mido Ocean Star Captain 5 Titanium. Wow! That is such a long name. Anyway, what I thought was really cool about this watch is that it has a lot of design elements that remind me of much more expensive watches like the Omega Seamaster, I believe, that has that orange theme. And then it also looks a lot like the Oris Aquis divers, although it doesn't have the second subdial. The cool thing about this watch is that it actually has the exact same movement as my Tissot Viso date. And if you're not familiar, basically it is the C07.111 movement, I believe, just off the top of my head. That could be totally wrong. But it actually has a power reserve of 80 hours, which is incredibly useful if you wear it throughout the week and then take it off at the weekend. You can pick it back up again on Monday and you're good to go. And then I think it's just a really cool watch. I would say it's kind of like a poor man's Oris. Now, this watch is retailing for about $1,000, which is kind of crazy. That probably means you will be able to find it, further down the line in a few months for, around the $600 price mark, which is kind of crazy. I really want one of these. The only thing that makes this watch a little bit unperfect for me is kind of the unperfect? Is that a word? The only thing that kind of detracts from this watch for me is the bezel. I would prefer a different number sequence on the bezel. If you guys know about other divers, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I'm sorry. But the other thing about this watch that I don't like is the hour marker indice at the 6 o'clock position. And I don't know, I think it's just, I would much have preferred just a straight kind of uncut hour indice. If you're looking at the watch, you'll know exactly what I mean. It kind of has two squares at the 12 and the 6. I think it works for the 12. At the 6, I would much rather have just had a regular hour indice. Now, this watch is water resistant to 200 meters, which, you could ask for a little bit more, especially considering that this watch doesn't have an exhibition case back, so you can't see the movement. But it has a day and date complication, and as I said, I found a blue dial version of this watch. Oh my gosh, I want a blue dial for $930 direct from Mido's website. That is a crazy deal for a brand new watch directly from the manufacturer, especially when you're thinking about a Swiss piece. All right, guys, so our third story of the day is not really much of a story. I was just checking out Crown and Caliber. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you should definitely Google them and visit their site. They have some really interesting articles that kind of give you some watch knowledge. They bestow watch knowledge on my brain. And they actually came out with an article recently basically detailing the history of IWC, the International Watch Company, which if you are a fan of pilots' watches, you know of them. And then they also detail in this article the history of all of the lines that IWC offers. So this is something that is really interesting to me, and I wanted to share it with your faces. I hope you guys really like this. Let us move on. Alright guys, sorry for the slight hiccup. I do have one shout out that I want to do before getting into the next topic. James from It's Kibble Talks Watches, you should go check out his channel in YouTube. He actually did a watch collection review. I don't know why this is so hard for me to get out to the camera, but he actually reviewed my collection and he had some really good feedback for me. If you guys are a longtime fan of this channel, you guys know that I pretty much have hoarded dress watches recently. So I sent him my collection minus the two pieces that I had here in Boston. One of them I'm sporting today. This is my gold plated Omega Geneve. Did I pronounce that right? The YouTube comments are gonna rage at that. Anyway, so he did not get all of my watches, but the watches that I have here are dress watches anyway. So he said, you know, you should really add a chronograph to your collection, and I'm just gonna play a quick clip right now.
I think overall we have a really nice collection of some absolutely iconic and great pieces. Yeah, really good collection, though I think maybe a chronograph would go really well in this collection, just to really top it off, I think. Not as like a necessity. Maybe if you are going to get rid of that 065, maybe replacing it with a chronograph, that'd be really cool.
Anyway, I think he had some valid criticisms on how I can expand my collection and kind of expand my knowledge about watches and kind of my experience with watches. So definitely go check out that video. There will be a link in the description, as always with these videos, for everything we talk about. So check those out down below. All right, guys, so for the fourth or fifth story for today, we are going to be talking about the updated YouTube terms of service and how it's actually affected one of the members of the watch community. So if you can tell by the title of this video, I'm not sure if I'm even going to include this in the title because of the hate that it's going to bring me in the comments, but one of YouTube's finest, Archie Luxury, has taken a hit recently. The YouTube terms of service have just been updated to make kind of YouTube more kid-friendly. If you've seen other YouTube videos talking about this, then they've probably done a much better job explaining this. But if you haven't, basically YouTube has kind of started striking videos down and taking away your right to monetize them and put ads on them if your content is not kid-friendly. Now, if you ever watched an Archie Luxury video, you know that his videos are pretty vulgar and pretty nasty. Even those are his words, not mine. So he has been affected by this. He hasn't released details on, you know, how many videos exactly he has that have been struck down by this, or how many videos he will have, you know, that are still compliant with the terms of service. But he is going through a bit of a rough time. He's taken on a few new sponsors, and I'm going to play a little bit of a clip from his video, but I'm probably going to have to bleep out a few things just because of these new terms of service.
Hello, I'm Archie Luxury, and I'm just going out to the park. I've just had some very bad news come in. My funding model for YouTube looks like it's over. Being a YouTube creator, I get a large proportion of my income. About 80% of my income comes from Google Ads revenue. And see, what's happened is they've changed the costing model so that any video which has vulgar language, any language that is deemed to be vulgar, means my video is no longer advertiser friendly, which basically means I'm looking for work.
The reason that I'm talking about this today is not so much focused around Archie, although he has, you know, obviously been affected by this. It's really also just affecting me and all other watch YouTubers and all YouTubers out there this new terms of service really feels like censorship. I mean, I can't really cuss in my videos because Google has an algorithm that actually goes through and tries to find cuss words that you say in your videos. So, you know, if a watch is stupid, I'm not even sure if I can say that. If a watch is stupid and I'm making a review on it, I want to tell you guys that the watch is stupid and you shouldn't buy it. So, you know, I'm not really sure what's going to happen with this channel and all the other channels on YouTube, but I am going to keep making videos. Luckily, none of my videos were flagged. I'm pretty sure I've kept mine pretty PG so far. So I think we're in the clear personally for my channel, but it is sad to see other people in the watch community, even if you don't like them, hurting. So let's move on. This is kind of a downer subject, so I want to end on a positive note. So for the final story of today, guys, we're going to be talking about J. Anthony. He just released a video this week basically saying, do not buy watches as an investment to add to your portfolio. He does a much better job of explaining it than I do, and you should really check out his video. I'm going to play a quick clip in just a second. But basically what he says is, you know, you can buy watches to enjoy them, and sometimes if you're smart about buying them and you buy used, you can sell them for more than you paid for them. But basically, he really warns against putting a lot of money into watches and relying on that as an investment for either retirement or to add to your portfolio. And he says, you know, he doesn't really want to get into the financial advice because he doesn't want to take on the liability, which I completely understand.
Here's the deal. Is it possible to buy a watch that you can make money on? Absolutely, I'm living proof. I've made money on a lot of watches. And obviously too, you know, watch dealers wouldn't exist if that wasn't a possibility. However, as with all things in life, housing market, car market, you know, stocks, for every one you make money on, there could be several that you could lose a lot of money on. If you're looking at a watch transaction as some way to kind of grow your bank account and as an investment strategy for growing your portfolio and growing your bottom line, and this is something you're gonna do to help save for retirement, don't do it.
And honestly, I just have to completely echo all of the points that J. Anthony made in this video. I think it's a really great video, and I think you should check him out if you haven't heard of him already, although he's much bigger than me, so you guys probably know who he is. I'm questioning my YouTube career right now. Anyway, guys, those are the news stories for this week, and I will see your lovely faces next week. Please let me know, or even send me things to put on this wall back here. I will listen to your suggestions. And I just have to thank you for watching. My name is Josh. Bye.